We're here at the national launch of the upgraded and facelifted Volkswagen Polo range. The 3-car model is as before, but there's plenty more technology and plenty more safety features to boot in these 3 cars. What's the catch? Well, the price is up anywhere from $5,000 to $7,000 depending which model you pick. Is the entry-level Volkswagen car still the value leader? Let's find out. The new 2022 Volkswagen Polo range consists of the entry-level Polo Life, mid-level Polo Style, and top-spec fire-breathing Polo GTI. The 2022 Polo Life is priced from $25,250 with a manual transmission or $28,250 with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic, both prices before on-roads and options. Next up is the Polo Style, which costs $31,350 before on-roads and options. All 3 cars are powered by the same 1-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder engine, but with different levels of power. The manual receives 70 kilowatts and 175 newton meters of torque, and the auto 80 kilowatts and 200 newton meters. Up top of the range is the 2022 Polo GTI. It packs the epic and familiar EA888 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 147 kilowatts of power and 320 newton meters of torque in this particular car, and sends power through a 6-speed dual-clutch automatic. Its price starts from $38,750 in base configuration, meaning a slightly optioned up car will set you back closer to $45,000 on the road. Standard features across the range include full LED headlights, front and rear automatic braking with parking sensors on both ends, a digital instrument cluster, and 4 fast-charging USB-C ports in the cabin. The Volkswagen Polo package has certainly matured over the years, but so has that price point. We're currently in the 2022 Volkswagen Polo Style, which starts from around $31,000 before on-roads and options, meaning when you get behind the wheel, you're going to want to see some luxury and technology right away for your money. Luckily, Volkswagen delivers. Right in front of you is an awesome digital instrument cluster that's fantastic to use, highly configurable, and feels a bit high-tech and expensive, as well as a wonderful 8-inch infotainment system with wired and wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless phone charging to boot as well. In terms of the overall ambience, it's quite a nice place to be. You've got this wonderful metallic finish on the dash, lovely to see a diverse selection of material in a car. This simple steering wheel, good visibility, dual zone climate control, USB-C ports. Overall, it feels quite modern for the price point. In this Polo Style, you get a wonderful pair of cloth pews. They get different selections of materials and detailed stitching. They look quite nice, but more importantly, they're deeply sculpted and both have lumbar support, meaning no bad backs on that long drive. Something that does bother me with the value equation is the fact that if you want keyless entry and start, native navigation, and that awesome 300-watt Beats audio system, you're going to have to pay extra as it's on the options list. Over in the GTI, you see where your extra money goes. Instantly behind the wheel, you notice all of these beautiful red highlights in this cabin. You've got red stitching on the steering wheel, you've got red highlights on the gear knob, and you've got these fantastic bucket seats complete with a tartan trim for that signature GTI experience. Overall, it feels really racy and does feel roundabout worth the $40,000, which is what you pay for it. In terms of simple things, you've got a great digital instrument cluster in front of you, an optional 9.2-inch display in this car, and wonderful tactile air conditioning controls, which are missing from the Volkswagen Golf. Now, this is a small car, so don't expect heaps of space in the back, but to be honest, it's perfectly livable for a couple of adults. I'm 183 centimeters tall, and this is my driving position. And as you can see, my knees are amazingly clear of the seat back, my feet clear the kick underneath the seat in front, and my head well clear of the headlining. Overall, it's quite a spacious cabin despite the car's class, and you know what? 2 adults can sit here quite comfortably. In terms of amenities, we've got 2 USB-C fast chargers, some coat hangers for your jacket, and a beverage holder for some bottles. Sadly, no cup holder, and sadly, no access to the boot. However, if you're looking for something that's going to double as maybe move your friends around or maybe the odd baby seat, you could just about get away with this Polo GTI. Although it's a small car, it's worth discussing boot space in the Volkswagen Polo range. It varies from about 300 to 350 litres depending which version you pick, but more importantly, the aperture is wide and nice to take a stroller, and you fit about a week's worth of groceries in there without too much fuss. Another good thing I love most is the fact that it's a space-saving spare wheel under the boot floor, not a repair kit, so it's not completely useless for Australia. At the moment, we're driving the 2022 Volkswagen Polo Style, which is a mid-trim model that sits between the entry-level Life and the top-of-line GTI. This particular car, in this particular configuration, with a couple of options, is priced from around $35,000 drive away. Jumping behind the wheel, driving the thing for the first time, I've got to say, definitely feels worth the money. It's quiet, smooth, really supple, great suspension, and it isolates you from the exterior detritus, be it birds, roadworks, other cars. It just shelters you, which definitely adds to the premium experience. Looking at the price at 35 grand, looking around the cabin, there's lots to see too. We've got a great digital instrument cluster in front of us with everything you need to know. An 8-inch infotainment, that's great to use as well. And overall, the cabin just feels user-friendly and intuitive. The climate control system in this car is good to use while driving. Steering is nice and easy too. It's a bit light-weighted, but fair and honest. And the performance is good too. Let's talk about power too. The entry and the mid-level Polo Life and Polo Style are powered by a 1-litre turbocharged 3-cylinder. And while that sounds like a petite little engine, it's actually quite powerful too, I gotta say. With a manual, it's got 75 kilowatt and 175 newton meters. If you buy an auto, the same engine has more power, 80 kilowatts, 200 newton meters, like we have in this automatic car. And I've got to say, it's plenty powerful enough. You put your foot down, it'll drop from 7th to 4th nicely, responds well, sounds good too, being a 3-cylinder. This new DSG has been calibrated pretty well, it doesn't jerk around, it's quite smooth with in and out throttle inputs and some transient throttle, or taking off or putting power while you're driving is how you can catch one out. Doesn't seem to do that anymore. Really comfortable transmission. Overall, the package definitely feels adequate in terms of its driveline. Come back to that $35,000 question though, that's a lot of money for a small car. Yes, the interior speaks to that point. Yes, the drive speaks to that point. But the overall car is a little bit small, which will definitely get someone. At this sort of money, you're looking at other Japanese and Korean alternatives, which may be a bit more spacious, but less quality. So if you're a discerning customer who appreciates the way something drives, the way something handles, and the way something feels, you'll probably like spending a bit more money and going for the Volkswagen Polo. Something else that's standard at the mid-level that I really appreciate on this car are those wonderful matrix LED headlights. Now what they do is give you more line of sight at night time, which is great for regional driving, but they also isolate the light beam around the oncoming cars. So basically, you're getting more forward vision, making your life safer, and you're not dazzling other people on the other side of the road, making their commute safer too. It's a win-win, and I'm glad it's standard on the mid-trim and above Volkswagen Polo. In terms of ride quality, it's really comfortable, this car. It cruises over bumps and ruts. We've been on a bit of a tour today out through the national park south of Sydney, back up through West Sydney. The roads are quite awful because of the weather. And you know what? It definitely feels like a 40, 30 grand car in terms of its compliance and its ride quality. Smooth, it isolates noise, it isolates vibration. And to be honest, about 10 years ago, you had to spend double this money to get this level of refinement. So I know the price has gone up anywhere from 5 to 10 grand depending on the car, but you're getting way more car for your money, and it's worth acknowledging. You know what? I think we've done enough driving in this mid-tier Polo Style. Let's hit the track in the Polo GTI to see if it's any good. We're here at Sydney's Luddenham Circuit, which is a tight technical track, really good for a car like this. And we're in the Polo GTI, which is a 2-litre, 147 kilowatt, 320 newton meter pocket rocket. What's it like to drive? Well, first things first is I love the steering in this car. Volkswagen put lots of effort into their steering on their GTI and R cars, and this thing is no exception. It's clear, it's easy to read what's going on, transparent, whatever you want to say, and it's just, yeah, it's confidence inspiring, this steering, I've got to say. Another thing I like too, the brakes are nice and crisp, they bite hard. Come into this corner to the right hand to go down the hill. Braking performance is good too. The car will run out of brakes, but then again, you're never going to take it on a track, so it doesn't matter. But the performance is good, the bite is good, and the feel is good, which is all that matters. The 2 litre is really flexible too. It's got a lot of grunt. We'll stab it out of this corner here onto the main straight. Get a listen to it too. Sounds good. Plenty of power for the package. 0 to 100 takes about 6.8 seconds, so it's not the quickest car in the world, but it doesn't need to be. It's a whole heap of fun, and it's fast enough. All Volkswagen GTIs come with a couple of configurable options out of the factory. You've got that loud exhaust, which has a normal mode and a loud mode. The suspension has got a firm and a soft mode, and the steering has a couple of settings as well. With everything set to stiff, it's nice and easy and good to use on a track, but in comfort mode, it's got a lot of personality too, and a lot of duality. We drove this car on the road, and in comfort mode, it's comfortable and supple enough, and in firm mode, it's just a little bit taut for a nice bendy road or a nice section of switchback corners. Now in this segment, you've got a choice of 2 things. You've got some luxury high-end performers without much performance, or you've got some hardcore track day toys like the Fiesta ST and i20N, which don't have much refinement. And now I know this car is around 40 to 45 grand drive away, but it does have a fantastic interior finish, The ride comfort is really good, and it's got adequate amounts of performance to fight with those hot hatch contenders. So really, if you're the sort of person that wants to have their cake and eat it, or wants a performance car, or maybe a fast luxury car that happens to be compact, this Polo GTI is probably the choice for you. Now don't mind me, I'm going to go have a couple more laps and enjoy myself. Now all three of these cars are exceptional in their class. However, sticker shock is the biggest thing you're going to have to get over. This entry-level Polo Life on my left here starts from around $30,000 drive away, which is a far cry from the old $19,990 price tag you expect with a small European hatchback. However, you have to factor in the amount of equipment these cars get. They're absolutely loaded with tech, so make sure you read the spec sheet and sweat the details, because you'll find there's plenty of gear for your money. If I had to pick a car, I'd go for that mid-level Polo Style over there. At around $35,000 drive away, it has the right balance of the right equipment and has those fantastic matrix LED headlights which will improve your safety at night time. We're looking forward to spending more time with these cars in the coming weeks as they come through the Drive garage. If you've got any questions on the Volkswagen Polo range, make sure you let us know in the comments section below. And as usual, like and subscribe to this video to be kept up to date with the latest and greatest car content in Australia.